let's take a listen to what is generally the main complaint about this RAV4, and that's the loud sounds or the unsophisticated sounds that this 2.5 makes. Here we go. It's loud and raucous, but it does the job. Well, good day, everybody. Coming to you today from this 2021 Toyota RAV4 in the base model LE trim. I've spent about 2 weeks in this car, and I have to say, I've been surprised in good ways and surprised in bad ways. What can I say or add to anything that's been said about the RAV4? This is America's best-selling vehicle. It's the best-selling hybrid in America. It's just an amazing car. Now, let me caveat that it's the best-selling passenger vehicle in America. And does it deserve all of those sales? I think everybody agrees that the hybrid is outstanding. However, how about this just base model with the 2.5 and the regular old 8-speed transmission? So yeah, I've always wanted to spend some time in these, and it's a little bit of like any other car, it's always a little bit of a mixed bag. So let's just start with the interior, then we'll hop out and we'll take a drive. We'll get out on the highway. So we'll do all the normal things we do. We do have the binaurals going today because, well, you'll see in a little bit why we wanted to make sure we captured the sound of this RAV4. So yeah, the RAV4, I mean, if you look around this interior, there's a lot of good reasons interior-wise why this is the best seller. It's spacious, it's well put together, plenty of features even on this base trim. I really do love this area down here, nice and wide, throw all your stuff and junk. You got a really sturdy shifter. I like that. You got all your buttons, sport, normal, eco right here. And when we get out on the road, I will show you that the sport button in this car has been a surprise to me. So that'll be interesting. You have your brake hold, little change thing there, nice big rugged cup holders, and you get excellent storage. So classic Toyota here. Everybody's raved about that little shelf there, and I can see where that would be really useful. Standard size glove box, nothing amazing there. This is the base infotainment system, and it does fine. You got your Apple CarPlay, all that good stuff. It's amazing how you get these really big buttons with this manual air conditioning heating system here, but when you get up here onto the radio, it's just these little tiny, so that's kind of a glaring, shocking thing when you get these big meaty controls and you get these little dainty wheels up here on this. This works pretty fine. This is all plastic up here. It feels okay. It's the it's the Toyota system. It works pretty fast. Apple CarPlay hooks up pretty good. I'm not a big snob on big screens or anything, and this one just works pretty good in its sort of tablet form, but it is plasticky when you touch it. Just doesn't feel that great, but it's been pretty responsible. It's been pretty responsive. The gauge cluster here, you got a little center screen there. That's been useful. We keep that on fuel economy. And you know, you have the analog gauges. I'm not a big fan of Toyota analog gauges. They're just really busy. I'm always a big fan of those Kia analog gauges. Classic Toyota steering wheel, just like in the Camry. Everything's just Camry-like, so there's really nothing to dislike in here. So let's hop out. So that's about halfway through its life cycle, and Toyota just nailed it when they designed this. They gave it that nice rugged look. It's wearing well. Everybody loves it. I'm a super big fan of the looks of this thing. This is in a dull gray. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this exterior. Everybody knows what these look like. They're all over the parking lots everywhere. Just take a look in the back. So one thing that's been a negative is this is does not have auto close or shutting on it. This button, it's very awkward to get your arm in there and lift that up. decent amount of storage. Pretty much every car in this class, you do have a nice flat load floor. No seat put downs back here, but you can kind of lean in if you're not too short and push those down. You see nice, huge, big, flat area. So yes, just like every other car, this does come with a decent, this area down here with a good size spare tire. Let's hop in the back real fast. Yeah, class, pretty much like most cars in its class, it has its outstanding rear seats, very, very comfortable. Not a lot to say. That's why these cars are so popular. Now this LE trim, you get nothing back here. You only get that. The only thing you really get in this LE trim is you get a center seat cup holder. I'm okay with the seat fabric in these base trims. Again, being a little bit of a Kia fanboy, I always like the Kia base fabrics better than anything. Now, there's been a lot of complaints that this passenger seat does not go up or down, and that is true. It is very tall, sits up nice and high, which I like, but if you're a tall person, you will lose headroom on this passenger seat as it does not go up and down. But everything faces the passenger and driver equally, making this a good companion trip car, so no complaints over here. Got to do that, apparently. Everybody's obsessed with door panels. And let's pop the hood. No hybrid here. Excellent LED headlights. Just a regular old Toyota 2.5. Interesting, you got this pull down prop versus a pop-up prop, and you put it over here, and man, that is sturdy. One of the best hood props I've seen, so nice job, Toyota. Yeah, this is that 2.5 direct injected, port injected. This thing will outlast everything else about the car. So it's just classic Toyota. And if you're into reliability, that's why you buy this thing. This engine will never ever fail you. So yeah, good, nice job, Toyota. It's quiet at idle right here, but man, we'll get into the interior when we're driving this. This thing can be a little raucous. Okay, so let's hop in and do the most important thing, and that's take this RAV4 for a drive. Now, the surprising thing, I've driven the hybrid and really liked it. I've driven this before and really didn't like it, but those were short-term drives. Didn't get to drive it on twisty roads or anything. So if you like to drive, this is not a sporty car by no means. However, you're not going to hate it, and I think that's been the surprise for me, is that I just haven't hated it when I'm out on country roads. So the XLE trim is definitely the trim you want. If you want to save $1,300, which is roughly 5% of the price of that car, you can drop down to this LE, but you're going to lose some really nice things. And you're buying a Toyota because you want it for a long time. So you're going to be living without some key features for a really long time. First is you're not going to get auto climate. This is fine. However, in this day and age, it'd be nice, the auto climate. I'm always fiddling with all these fan speeds and everything as I've been driving. They feel good, at least. The other thing you're going to get, which is probably the biggest annoyance to me, is keyless smart key entry, no push button start. You're always getting the key fob out. And again, 10 years from now, that's really going to be annoying if it's not to you right now. Again, you don't get the alloy wheels, and then you get, what else do you get? You don't get a power driver seat. So anyway, you're going to save $1,300, and you're going to lose, some really important features. I think if you're talking about resale value, XLE is going to be the one that people are looking for, because it's really not a big price difference. However, if you're on the used market, maybe this LE is the one to go after, because it may not be holding its value as quite as good as the XLE. So let's talk about the drive. Again, the surprising thing, let's just start with the bottom up. The ride quality. I like the ride quality because it's on the firm side. You do feel the bumps, It's very composed and controlled. However, small impacts will jolt through the cabin. Again, I kind of like a sporty feeling suspension more than, oh wow, never seen that before. Anyway, I like a sporty feeling suspension, and this suspension is not sporty, but it's on the firm side. It's just those little bolts kind of get it, little bumps kind of jolt through the cabin up, and it's not a really cushy, floaty ride like the previous generation. You know, Toyota's really stepped up their game into giving you a little bit more of a firmer, sporty ride. So starting there, let's just go on up to the brakes. The brakes have been a surprise to me. I absolutely love these brakes. Any sort of standard car I've ever driven, this is some of my favorite brakes. And the reason is they're completely linear. There's no play at the top. You want to brake harder, you just push harder. There's no grab point. There's no play. Really, really like the brake stopping distances. I don't know. But either way, they do give you good confidence because you know exactly what you're getting. Now, we've had this out on the highway for quite a many miles, but let's go ahead and jump over to that highway test portion now. Okay, I guess the big source of noise for this car is the wind noise. It's a little bit more wind noise, but road noise is fairly well done, and the engine is pretty hushed. Yeah, the other thing you'll note when you're driving is the steering is pretty quick. I mean, there's no dead spot on center. I mean, just a tad. Anything off center will start maneuvering this thing, so it's really, really sensitive. I'm really surprised by that. Some people might not like that. It can be a little twitchy. Now, if I put the adaptive cruise on, which works really good, the radar cruise works really, really good in this thing. It's really smooth as far as braking, accelerating. If you need to change lanes, coming up on somebody slow, it'll accelerate around them, which is really, really nice. It won't wait until it's out of some narrow field of view to do that. So that's really, really nice as far as the adaptive cruise. The annoying thing is the lane centering feature, sort of the cruise safety that'll keep you lane centered. If I turn that on, it's not the best. It kind of ping pongs between the lane a little bit. See, it's doing that right now. Now it's all the way, now it's coming back towards the middle. But it's there. It's a safety feature if you do take your hands off the wheel. So I got cruise going. Ugh, it's a little dicey with the ping pong. What's annoying about it, though, is if you do enable it, you're supposed to keep your hands on the wheel. But keeping your hands on the wheel with this thing is really frustrating because now there's a huge dead spot. See that? Huge dead spot, and it's fighting you. You constantly feel the wheel tugging on you. It just makes steering this on the highway just not a fun experience. So we're gonna have to turn that off. Just a couple other nits. Yeah, I'm really kind of surprised that this RAV4 has a few creaks in it. A few creaks and rattles. It's a little bit of a not quite solid feeling with some of these little creaks and things. They're not too bad. They're not annoying or anything, but I am noticing a few of those. All right, what do we got coming here? I'm just going to leave this in regular old mode here. And as you'll see, much like the highway portion out here on the mountain roads, I do not hate driving this RAV4. So let's just find out why. All right, there's that raucous engine. Yeah, so what's really surprising about this RAV4 has been the steering. The steering is really, really precise. It's decently fast. It is on the light side, of course, but it's not overly artificial light. And it's just really, really good steering. I mean, it does a great job given what this car is. And that makes a drive on a road like this not torture. This is not a penalty box to be cruising up and down a road like this. Of course, this isn't a sports car. It's not intended to be. But for what this RAV4 does and is, this is not unpleasant. And I think that's what was surprising, especially when you think about something like a Ford Escape, where I absolutely abhor the steering feel in that car. The engine does a decent job. It's fairly lively. It's fairly responsive. That naturally aspirated engine is raucous and loud, and that's really the only downside of this entire drivetrain. I think it suitably has plenty of power, but when you combine it with the brakes that I love, and you combine it with the surprisingly good steering and overall flat composure for a crossover, you know, Toyota's done a really, really good job, and I'm really, really impressed. The transmission has also garnered some criticism in the past, and I don't know if these newer models, newer years, they've sorted that out, but I have had no issues with this 8-speed transmission. It's shifted very, very smooth. The downshifts have been fairly quick. There is a manual mode, which is pointless, but if you need to hold gears on a downhill or in snow or something, that would come in handy. Let's get around this turn. I'm going to pop it in sport mode, which is the other surprising thing. And when you hit sport, you get a little indication there. And the sport mode on this doesn't do anything with the steering or suspension, of course, but it doesn't make the transmission crazy as far as holding gears. It just makes the throttle nice and responsive. It makes the transmission hold gears just enough, and it downshifts pretty fast. So it's one of the few sort of mainstream regular old cars where the sport mode actually livens it up appropriately. Okay, the Toyota RAV4 non-hybrid. I guess I could say after 2 weeks is I'm surprised that I don't hate it. Yes, that engine is loud and raucous at times, but you know, 90% of the time you're not pushing it that hard. And I've actually become quite surprised about how well this drives, specifically the steering and the braking. But if you can get better gas mileage, a smoother and even quicker powertrain in that hybrid, why wouldn't you do that? Why wouldn't you do that? Of course, the regular one comes in a lot of trim levels. Maybe the all-wheel drive system is more typical in the upper trims versus that sort of electric engine on the back, so maybe a little bit more rugged, who knows? But you can't go wrong with this thing. It'll last you forever. And when it comes to the competition, the other two that I really like in this class are the Tiguan. That is the Grand Touring, the comfortable and solid. It's no faster than this. It's probably even a little bit slower, but it is just an all-around great car to drive in this class. And of course, there's the CX-5 in both the non-turbo and the turbo version. So you'll notice I haven't mentioned the Honda CR-V. That's because I don't like how it looks, and I don't like the interior, how it looks, and it's got a CVT. This is much more hipper looking than the CR-V, but of course everybody loves them, and if you have one, it's an awesome car. It's just not for me. There's a Tucson out there, haven't really driven that one yet, but again, you can't go wrong with the RAV4. So again, leave your questions and comments below. I spent 2 weeks in this thing, so if you have a question, please leave it. I'll definitely get back to you. And any other comments would be appreciated. So hopefully we'll leave you with this beautiful scenery out here. Hopefully it's coming across on camera as good as it is to the eye. So again, thanks for watching, and have a great day, morning or evening, wherever you are.